Bobbbaaaay, and we back. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast. Today on the show, we got my man NeekAttack. Everybody knows who he is. What's going on, bro?
How we doing, my man? Feels good to be here.
It feels really good to have you here. Really good conversation beforehand. I'm very excited to have you on the podcast. First audio engineer ever on the Purpose in the Youth podcast.
Here to represent, show love to all the audio engineers out there. Feels really good to be able to be a voice.
Everybody wants the artists. We want the guys doing the groundwork, baby.
Yep, that's what you need.
Who are making these artists shine and look so good out there.
100%. Nah, that's really funny.
Who is Nico Catalano today, and how young is he?
In LA, you don't ask people's age.
You don't. Is that the known thing?
No.
I'm still the new kid on the block. You know what I mean?
Am I. It's totally cool. But I'm 22 years old. Nico Catalano. Pretty much just, an audio engineer right now, mixing for a ton of artists. Totally cool. Just recently have been diving into some newer things. But for the most part, Nico Catalano has branded himself as being NeekAttack, the audio engineer that mixes for your friend that raps.
You name it. You name it, I'll do it.
Yep.
And that's amazing because, like you said, it's not even just an audio engineer anymore. It's starting to become a lot bigger things, and I'm stoked because I'm sure we're going to get into all that as this podcast goes.
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready because you're going on a roller coaster ride with the boys today. Take me back, before we get into anything that's going on in your life today, take me back to where it all started. Where were you born? Where were you raised?
Born and raised Wheeling, West Virginia, the state. You'd be surprised with how many times I have to tell people that. But it is a state.
It is a state.
It's about an hour from Pittsburgh, an hour and a half from Columbus. But, I mean, for me, it all started... We're going way back. Yeah. It all started with Guitar Hero.
Okay.
Just rocking out on Guitar Hero. Got really good really quick. From there, was just super inspired to be in a band. So got a guitar, played in a band for like 2 to 3 years in high school.
Wow.
I loved it. It was like one of the best times of my life. And actually being in a band is how I got to where I am now, because when we were in a band, every band, they just want to record like a demo. We just wanted to record a demo, give it to our friends, and have them jam it out. So we started recording our own demos with like a computer mic hanging from a ceiling fan. And we all just jam out and just scream into the microphone. Thought it sounded amazing. We thought it was the greatest thing ever.
You were the best kids on the block making music.
Covering Blink-182, just screaming into the ceiling fan. But yeah, so we did that. And then once we started to mature a little bit, we got a little bit more into like sound, because we're doing a lot of shows around the area. And we have to have like really inconvenient for a band, because you have to have a PA system when you go to perform a show. It's not like being a rapper.
That sounds like a big thing. I don't even know what that is.
It's a big thing.
Okay.
Like it's like you need the speakers and you need all the mics to mic the instruments. It's a big hassle, but that just threw me in the fire right away, because you're right there. You're talking about working with like mixers and cables, channels, EQs, panning, all that kind of stuff. You're probably like, what's going on right now?
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
This is bread and butter for you, though. This is you all day.
So, like, when you do that, you have the live sound system, and you're seeing all these, like, physical things. Like, you're like, all right, a fader, and this makes this louder. This makes this more bright or softer. So we started doing that, and then when we got into the whole PA system, we evolved into wanting to record ourselves. So we would record ourselves through our mixer, and we'd EQ the mixer, do all that, and then we discovered software and plugins. So once we did that, we started like, recording ourselves with like these wave plugins, made it sound great. Started recording like other bands, and next thing you know, I'm just like mixing for these bands in my band in the area, and that was great and all until I go to college and there's no more bands.
At all. No. Everyone's out partying, having a good time, doing the college thing.
No more bands and no more rock music, to be honest. Like I grew up in high school going to Warped Tour, just like jamming out to all these bands, the Wonder Years, 4 Year Strong, Story So Far, like all these.
Chiodos.
Chiodos. With
Newfound Glory.
Of course.
I was a big fan. I was a big fan.
Yeah. So, and to this day, I still listen to that music like recreationally. But yeah, so when I went to college, there just wasn't a demand for any bands at all. But there was a lot of rappers, a lot of just people that wanted to make rap music in a school where there was success from another artist, Huey Mack. He came out of WVU and experienced success. So there was a lot of hope for people that came to WVU. And everybody would be rapping at parties and whatnot. And I was the only person there that actually recorded people. Like I went there, like just doing. I was studying finance, but I went there and realized that there's a huge market of people that rap here. So I started like being more vocal about mixing for people and just charging like per the song. And next thing you know, I turn into like, fast forward, we'll say like 3 years. I'm the only studio in Morgantown, and have clients coming in almost every day to my place.
You were the guy.
There's
nobody else in the area
and there was
doing
no
it.
competition at all. Like there was really no other competition besides other artists that knew how to mix. But like there was no just studio for like people to go in and just work and do whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
So I was able to be that and really build a brand and build my name. And the most important thing about it was the amount of practice that I got by doing that. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, in 2016, I did over 1,000 songs for people out of a attic in Morgantown, West Virginia. So like a lot of the songs were in-house, but a lot of them were
people sending
me the tracks now.
Yeah. Like
this year is probably going to be double than what I just did. But like that's what I'm saying.
That's that progression of just keep going. And I think what's awesome too, and looking back on it, you're probably, I guess, true. Being that you were in such an isolated spot, you were able to step up as that guy, as an engineer. If you grew up out here in LA or you're going to school here, you would be another kid that is trying to be an engineer around thousands of people doing it. So it allows you to practice, because all the artists around you that were trying to record their music, you're the guy they're going to go to, because who else are they going to go have it mix and engineer it?
You're exactly right. And I never really thought about it like that, but that's so true. And especially because no one would even think there would be a need for that in West Virginia.
No.
But there was.
There was.
And like to this day, like towards the end of my time in West Virginia, I had a kid who I recorded like a year before he hit me up. But he hit me up and he's like, hey, I want to be your intern. And I was like, I mean, I kind of could use an intern, but for the most part, I'm cool in it right now. But he was more just like, I just want to learn from you and learn how you do it, because he's followed me for a while. His name's Tristan.
Okay.
What up, Tristan?
Tristan, what up?
Love you, brother. So Tristan actually took over my studio when I left.
Wow.
So he got a house in Morgantown. He lived like in a town called Fairmont. It's like 20 minutes away. But he ended up like, because I told him straight up, I'm like, bro, like if you want to make a life here, like recording music, like you don't have to keep working in restaurants. Like I'm moving to California, and there's still going to be a massive demand of artists here. He's like, all right. I can
literally just hand you all the clients.
I literally just would just like
pass the torch.
Here you go, bro. And not like he took it and then made the most of it. Like he got a house, took his whole living room, made it into a studio. Great vibes in there, good energy, welcoming, people coming in and out, and he's got like a little booth area. It's just awesome. Yeah. Like when I go back there, it's like my home now. Yeah. Because like I go there and like still be in the studio, still working, but back on the East Coast. So
that's so cool to pay it forward to somebody like that.
It's the coolest thing I've done.
Showing you love, like wanting to learn, wanting to intern, and then you moving out to California. So it's like, all right, well, I need to leave. Do you want to just take this over?
Yeah.
Like I need to go on to a bigger thing, a bigger opportunity.
The craziest thing about it is, like, I've had multiple people ask me about working with me, being an intern. But he just caught me in a really crazy point in my life where, like, I graduated college early. I graduated in 3.5 years. And that half year from January to April was when I went full head of steam with this whole audio engineering mixing.
Nothing else distracting,
nothing.
No classes,
so he
no
hit me up in
exams.
January when I was like doing it full time. And I was like, that's pretty perfect timing, because like now like I'm going to be in here all day, every day. And it'd be cool to have some company, and be cool to like pay it forward and teach somebody about what I do and someone to talk to, because he already knew what I did. And he also produced, he made rap songs, made singing songs, and he could decently engineer. Yeah. So when I would talk to him about stuff, he would have an idea what I'm talking about. And that was awesome for me. So when he came in, he started working alongside of me. We quickly became like best friends. Yeah. Because he would drive like 25, 30 minutes in the snow and the rain just to make it to the studio. Just to come in, and like even if I didn't have work for him, he was still coming, and I still wanted him to be there. Man. Like it was just an awesome thing, really. Now, when I left, all my artists that I used to work with, like they didn't have to think like, oh my career's done. Like I have nowhere to record, and like my rates were just so cheap, and like Tristan is keeping them cheap in Morgantown as well. So like the only other studio you have to go to is in Pittsburgh, like. There might be some in Fairmont, but it's like if you're gonna make a drive, just drive to Pittsburgh and do it. But I mean, it's gonna cost you $30 just to get there.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay the Pittsburgh studio fees,
which is gonna be a lot more.
Yeah. So like I'm sure a lot of these artists in Morgantown that I worked with, they probably wouldn't even be doing anything right now if Tristan didn't take over and build a setup pretty much seamlessly. Like there was probably a month gap of no studio in Morgantown, but then like a month later he
sound the alarms, everybody came running in.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's done a great job managing it, and just kudos to him. But
I mean, it's clear to me that, you know, for being 22, you have this work ethic, this vision for what you want, and you haven't really stopped. Has there been something when you were a kid that your parents kind of taught you, or a lesson? Because I don't think this was just kind of born, you know what I mean? This didn't just come out of you. Like, where is this stemming from?
I mean, for me, it's really like just an honest appreciation, like for my family and everything that they've given to me growing up. I just had very little hardship growing up, and that is all due to them. They just didn't put any tough things on me. They kept me like in the clear. They kept my head straight, and they always made sure to appreciate like everything that you have and everything that is given to you. So once I really started to like acknowledge that, I realized that like I'm so grateful for the life I've been given. Like I really just want to make a great life to not only like make my parents happy, like make sure, like just want to reassure them that like what they taught me is paid off. That's a huge goal in my life. Yeah. And then another thing was just more, you know, being a kind and genuine person to people, and don't ever, always be humble. I mean, my dad still tells me that to this day. It's just like, always be humble. Don't ever brag on people, or as the kids would say, flex on people.
As the kids would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just staying grounded, and it's just really important to appreciate everything that you have, because you can really look back. Like it gets to the point where like just appreciate the fact that you can walk. Yeah. Like sometimes I tell myself like I really just want to run as fast as I can right now, just because this is one of the only times in life where I'll probably be my fastest. Yeah. As a person, as like a human being. If I were to run right now.
This is your peak.
Like, if my like dad or my mom want to run right now, they would never be as fast as they once were. Yeah. But like right now, I'm like the fastest Neek possible. So I'm just going to run.
Like as far as I can go, I'm just going to run.
So yeah, that work ethic is more just like an appreciation for everything that's been given to me in my life. And I just want nothing more than to give back to whomever I can. So that's why I'm constantly working with people and trying to make other people's dreams and visions come to life.
Yeah. I mean, being in your 20s, this is the prime time. I'm 23. I'm going to be 24 in a couple months. These are literally the best years of our life.
100%.
It's like the bittersweet, because they're the best years of our life, but it's also this huge, crazy journey of trying to figure out where are we supposed to be, how are we supposed to be doing it, what is our passions, who are we supposed to surround ourselves with. So there's all these like questions of, should I do this, should I do that? But it's also when you step back and you're like, damn, this is it. I can run the fastest possible that I'll ever be able to run. I can jump as high as I can jump. I mean, this is the best time of our lives. But there's so much going on that we forget, or not forget, but we just are caught up doing these things that we can't take a step back. And that's something that I try to do every day. I meditate. That's something I got.
I started meditating.
And it sounds fun. I swear it's a secret.
It's a secret.
It's that presence of, like you said, acknowledge that you're standing up. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that you can open the door.
It's just an honest conversation with yourself.
Yes.
That's really, and like some people say like, yeah, I meditate, or yeah, like I mean, I'm always like having a conversation with myself, but like no, like you need to sit down, just put yourself in a quiet room, 5 minutes, and just be like, so what's up, dude? Yeah. And talk to yourself and just have a conversation that like you're bringing things to light that you never really want to bring to light. You bring it to light, you acknowledge it, and then you move on from it. And like that is what meditating is, bro. It's unbelievable. But crazy thing about what you were saying with the whole being in the 20s and how crazy and amazing it is, because it is. But I was just talking to my friend about this in our kitchen, Arizona Zervis, an incredible rapper, one of my roommates. Yeah. Shout out Arizona.
Shout out Arizona.
But I just had this thought one day, and I was just like, it's so weird how when you're born up until the point where you like can comprehend. And when you can comprehend, you go into the schooling system. And you're pretty much there, schooling system, up until you're at least 18. And at that point, like, you've been in a system your entire life to where, like, you have to do a certain thing a certain way, blah, blah, blah. 18, you might choose to live the real world, or you go on to college. So you continue staying in that system until you're then, at that point, 21 or 22. And then, boom, right there is the first time, to me, is when you're, like, born. The first time you really get to experience life is when you get out of that system and you're just like, whoa, where am I right now? Because you're in the real world. And it's like, I'm going to go try to do this. And, like, you go and try to do that. And you don't know if it works or not, but you do it anyways. And then if it doesn't work, you're like, all right, I'm going to go try to do this. And it's like that, because now, like, you're 22 years old. Like, you've lived life. Like, you should know a general idea, not of what you want to do, but you're smart enough to be able to take a chance. That's all it is. You don't need to have, like, a crazy passion for anything. You just need to be able to take a risk and take a chance. And that's what's so cool about it. And the sad thing is a lot of people after college, instead of, like, they finish college and then they just get a job working. And next thing you know, they never leave that system. They are always in a system for their entire life. And not saying people don't get happiness from that, because they do. And you definitely can. We need people to do those jobs and find happiness within them. But it's more just like that small period of time where you're just completely, like, a rebel.
Free.
Yeah.
Free.
It's like an anarchy. You can just do whatever you want and just try whatever and take a chance and do this and do that. Get a job working here so you have some money. Then if you want to go be an artist or be a painter or do whatever you want, you can. So it makes me feel really good seeing anybody do that. Just someone like you. You're only 23. You're doing a podcast right now. Like, that's awesome. And it's something you just thought, like, I'm going to try to do this. And
it was the same moment. It was the same moment of I graduated. I didn't know what I was going to do, and then trying to figure out, I knew I wanted to find something I was passionate about. I was like, why not start a podcast when you sit down with passionate people? Because when you surround yourself with these passionate people, I mean, there's no better way to find that passion. But it was such a weird experience, too, because same thing. It was like, I'm out of the system. Like, September came, I didn't go back to school. I was in the real world.
For the first time ever.
And the bills were still coming in. I was like, okay. So that doesn't change, but nobody's here to tell me what I can and can't do. Like, this is the best thing ever.
It's crazy. It is so crazy. And like we were just saying, just being able to have an idea or have like a spark of, what's the word? I don't remember it. But when you just get this random drive to go do something, you can do it. And that is something that is priceless. Like, you really can't take that for granted, especially at this age right now.
Were there anything else that you tried growing up? I mean, the music, you said you did the Guitar Hero, and it kind of led to the band. Did you try anything else that you gave a shot, but it just didn't pan out?
That's a great question. I would like to say that I did. Oh, I mean, one thing was hockey for me.
Okay.
I was really just a pretty good hockey player in the area that I was in. I played in Pittsburgh, played like on a travel team, and pretty much just like I was dead set on being like a professional hockey player for a very long time. I was on a really legitimate like travel team.
Okay.
Like we went to like the World Cup and everything. It was wild.
So you guys were the real deal. This wasn't
we were like
no pickup game.
Nah, like I mean, at one point, we were ranked like 13th in the world for our league for our year, which is 1995 birth year, and then like 7th in the U.S. Like in the World Tournament, like we lost to Team Russia. Like it was pretty wild. Mario Lemieux was my coach for 2 years. Like his son Austin was on our team. Great kid, great people all around. But it was just like we had like the biggest crowds in Quebec when we played there, just because it's Mario and it was Mario's team. So it was just like a huge deal.
Unreal.
So yeah, at an early age, I really thought I was going to the NHL. I thought that was everything, and then pretty much the transition happened. Like when I kind of didn't really see hockey as a future is when I started the band.
Okay.
Like where I still played because I was good. Point. Yeah, but I didn't take it as seriously. I stopped playing for the travel team like after my freshman year of high school because I was like, I mean, I had to drive an hour to practice. My parents had to. So like
an hour there and then an hour back.
An hour back. Yeah. And that was like a pretty far trip, but there were kids on the team that went further than that. Like some drove 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So like it was a team that you really wanted to be on, but family made a huge sacrifice, and it was a sacrifice that I will forever be grateful for. But I am also a little upset that I had to put them through that.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of time, a lot of money, and just a lot of hassle, really, at the same time. But it was a pretty amazing experience.
If you enjoyed it, I always say if you enjoyed it in the moment, you can't look back and regret it. You know what I mean? I went through not an hour, but my father would drive me I think it was Wednesday, to guitar lessons for 2 years. And he would sit out in the parking lot and read a newspaper for a half hour every week for my guitar lesson. Or sometimes he would bring his clothes and go for a jog while I was in there trying to learn. So
that's awesome. Being
the father figure of committing and trying to let his son try these passions. And then I look back and I think that, I wasted time and I wasted their money but I gave it a shot,
Yeah.
I can always look back and know that I tried guitar, and I don't really want to say I put all the right effort into it, but I still made those initial steps to give it a try.
Exactly. And you may have fallen in love with it, but you decided that you didn't. No. So you moved on, but you tried it. But like, there are a lot of things where like, I didn't tell myself like, I tried mixing because I wanted to do a demo with my band, and then I slowly ended up really liking it and started to get really good at it. But like, that's just like, that could have been for anything. It's not like I was born and like right out of the womb or in preschool I was writing, I want to be an audio engineer when I grow up.
That didn't happen.
Or even just I want to EQ and compress when I grow up. Like, I didn't have any other. Even when I started doing it, I had no idea what it was. And so it was something where like, your passion or whatever you're destined to do is not just going to fall right into your lap.
No.
And it might like fall into your lap, but it might be really ugly at the point where you just kind of want to kick it off of your lap.
Yeah.
But then you like kind of fall in love with it, and you're just like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then you just move along with it, you get good at it, and next thing you know, it evolves into being something that's a passion or something that you love. And I think a lot of people miss out on their passion or miss out on a potential opportunity because whatever is presented to them at its current state is something that doesn't really interest them.
No.
So
you got to dig with it.
Yeah.
You got to drive and like see. Test, test and trial and error.
100%. So to anybody listening, just like if anything comes in your lap that might be thrown there or something that is kind of interesting, dive into it just to see what it's about. And if it interests you, you'll keep diving into it. If it doesn't, you'll just move on from it. But like I said, this stuff just definitely didn't come naturally, but it just came more out of like intrigued.
Yeah.
Like because like I was like, wait a minute, why does this song on the radio sound like that and mine sounds like this? That was the question for me. That still to this day is the main reason why I'm here right now, because I still don't feel like my song sounds like that one on the radio. I'm getting really, really close though. And every time, like there are times where I'm like,
I'm almost there.
I'll send a mix back to somebody and I'm just like, my man, that's $1,000 mix right there. I know it is too. Especially like after being out here, just like hearing some of these mixes that these people are putting out. Yeah. I'm just like,
they ain't touching me. They ain't touching me.
Yeah, like I'm good right now, especially because I charge a very fair price.
Yeah.
So like value is the key with it, and I'm just at the point where like these mixes are coming out. I'm just like,
you're only getting better though,
Yeah.
So the money and all that, it's only in due time.
Yeah, 100%. But like I said, I'm not gonna stop until my song. I hear that song
is
on
actually
the radio.
On the radio.
Yeah, exactly. Actually on the radio.
When you were still at West Virginia, you clearly had this passion for the engineering. You were starting to get into it. What did you take away from actually being at school there? Was there anything that you really learned? Obviously, you had this passion. You were working, and you had to go to classes, and you had to show up. What was the takeaway for you then?
I mean, for school and college is to me way more about intangible learning than actual textbook reading learning. I mean, I learned a lot of just life skills. I learned a lot of like time management, especially doing this with class.
Yep.
It was like, how do I allocate my time properly to where I can get this exam done and I can record this many clients and then I can go turn up with the homies on Friday night. Shout out my homies. Yeah. But yeah, for me, that whole process as well was building my people skills, because I went on countless blind dates. And, I mean, I still do. Yeah. People just hit me up off the internet and they'll be like, yo, I see you doing this, or you're here, I'm here, let's meet up. So I just meet people all the time. Every week I'm meeting somebody new. So in college, like that was a breeze for me, was just putting myself in a position to like take a leadership role because I was very comfortable around people. Mm-hmm. So any like group projects, stuff like that, like when you had to work as a team, I was always like very comfortable just getting things done, getting things organized, getting things going, because I spent all my time in college just like trying to figure out how to get something done, whether it was with school or a project for somebody, a song, anything like that. So definitely like an intangible value was brought to me through college. I learned a little bit. I have a degree in finance, which is really funny. It's cool. Not going to say I retained much of the information, mainly because I just wanted to go home and just mix.
Cook.
And just mix. Yeah. Non-stop mixing.
That's awesome, though. Like, that you able to find that in those years, because college gives you so much free time if you handle your time correctly.
Yeah.
So you can balance that of trying to get, artists in and mixing and mastering, and then still taking the exam and studying and going out with the friends. You can really juggle both.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're able to tell yourself, this is what I want to do, and the only way I'm going to get there. And obviously that you kind of started off the beginning of the podcast was like, I didn't just wake up today and become this engineer. There was thousands of songs probably mixed, hours and hours and hours. Like, what's been your big learning process? How have you learned? Has it been YouTube? Has it been just trial and error?
Oh, definitely YouTube.
Yeah.
You can learn anything nowadays off of YouTube. You can learn anything off the internet. So YouTube definitely got my foot in the door, as into like what's what. But here's a little secret. Like, I didn't really learn until like I graduated from school in December. And
what year is this, by the way?
2016.
Oh yeah, okay. So we were in the same graduating class.
Yeah. So I graduated just last December, and then from January to April, was the time where I was like, all right, dude, you didn't go to school for this, but what I do is a degree, like audio engineering. Like you can go to school. You
go to school and get that degree.
You're supposed to go to school for that. I didn't go to school for it, so I took that half year to like I bought textbooks and I bought like actual schooling material, and for me it was incredible because I had so many clients at the time, and I was reading these textbooks and being able to directly apply it. It was the most efficient way of learning ever, because it's not like college where you just sit and make you sit there for years and you learn and you learn and you learn, and then it's the real world and now you do. Yeah. Like for me, I was already doing all this stuff before. So I'm reading these textbooks and like I know the language. I'm like, all right, they're doing this. Oh, why did they use that ratio? Oh, okay. And then I read my textbook, I go to my project right there, and I do what I just learned from my textbook. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. So then this learning started being like crazy to where it got to the point where I'm like, there's really no secret formula to what I do. It's taste and like clarity. Like, can you hear everything they're saying? And like, is it clean? Does it sound full and rich? And a lot of that, the most important part about engineering is the artistic aspect of engineering. And it's not like having a song with really loud bass, really loud snares. It's like, did you capture the vibe of the track? That's why like every song I use a different reverb. Every song I use different this or that. I'm very hesitant on just using a template of everything ready to go.
So you want to start fresh
I prefer, I have my go-to compressors and EQs, but that's for compressing an EQ. And then if I want to add more, then I'll decide what I want to use in that sense. Dynamic stuff is just get it right. Like once you can get it right with multiple tools, but yeah, once you get it right, it's more just like coloring and painting the picture with the right shade of blue.
Okay.
And like that's like before I was learning, I was thinking like, why is mine green and this one's blue? It's like now I'm at like the point of like this is blue and this is blue, but like there's a little darker blue.
Okay, I like the way you're putting in this because I'm hearing EQ compressor.
Yeah,
and everyone that's listening is probably like, what the hell is he talking about?
Exactly. So like, I got to the point where it's like I know the colors. I just need to get the shades of the colors and make it all blend nice, and that is what you learn about engineering in the first like 2 or 3 years, and then you spend 20 years learning about this stuff that I'm learning right now. Like this is like
you have the structure, the ground structure of the house. Now it's about fine tuning everything in it.
Exactly, becoming like somebody that really brings the song to life and brings all the integrity out of the song. For sure.
That is intense.
Yeah.
What do you think people have the biggest the misconception of being an audio engineer?
That I make beats. Like literally, even in college, I just stopped telling people because in college. Like I would even when I
just stopped telling people.
Yeah, even when I would tell people what I do, they still wouldn't know what I do because I'd be like, I'm an audio engineer. They'd be like, what's that? I'd be like, I mix music. What's that? Come on, like EQ and compression. And then it's just like, whoop. So they're always like,
yeah, we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, like, you make beats. You a producer.
You're the kid in the corner of the classroom, like, don't talk to that kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
They're like, oh, like. I thought you were really cool, but like now that you're telling me what you do, I don't think you're that cool anymore. So that's the life of being an audio engineer.
I love it.
But it's totally cool. That hands down the biggest misconception is I don't make beats. I'm a mediocre guitar player, but there is artistic value in audio engineering, and anybody within the music world respects it a ton. Like because people know good engineering and bad engineering. Like. It's kind of like the artists that people listen to know firsthand what it sounded like before it got mixed. So that's why there's an appreciation for it because they're like, I'm really happy this dude stepped in because this song.
They bring it to the level.
They bring it to the level, bro. Yeah. Like they're the icing on the cake. Yeah. And that is like to the everyday ear, to the everyday consumer, they don't give a shit about that. But it's a pretty legitimate role in the creative process that I don't think a lot of people even realize. Like it's a thing. Like all of my family has really no idea what exactly I do, and it's just you can't blame them. And like that's why I feel like they're always worried about me.
Yeah,
because
like where are you making money?
Yeah,
from?
How are you doing this? How are you living out there? Like they still, like I said, my family thinks I make beats, but it's cool. I mean, I'm a service at the end of the day. I'm in a town. I'm in Los Angeles where my service is very, very demanded, and it will always be demanded. And especially with the way things are going now, with people not wanting to record in studios, a lot of people record themselves, and you can get really good sounds out of a bedroom nowadays. Like studios are not going to be as people are not going to be as dependent on a studio as they once were, because now you can get a good mic, a nice interface, and send it to Neek. And it will sound like you spent hours in the studio.
And you're all good.
Yeah.
And it's just like that.
You got NeekAttack. That's my new thing.
Send it through.
Yeah.
Send it through.
It's my new word. I'm just going to use it like it's a verb.
Yeah. And that's so fire too, because as we were talking about before the podcast, you are the engineer. Like I come across a lot of artists. I come across a good amount of producers, but it seems that you have really created like this, I don't want to say vibe of being an engineer, but you are proud to be an engineer, or I don't know, just the way you carry yourself and the way it's like you are who you are. And even though people don't appreciate the engineers, anybody that's outside the industry, they're not gonna give a shit. And that's exactly why people are like, you're an engineer, what you do, what you make beats. Nobody's gonna care, but the people in the industry actually appreciate you, because obviously, like you said, you are the one that is in charge of, we have these vocals, we have this track, really good song, now make this
a great
what
song.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, 100%. That was one point that I really felt was like a huge turning point for me, was just the whole really try to take something and bring it to life, like bring it to a level that it hasn't been brought to, and that like the artist didn't even think about bringing it to. Like they didn't even imagine the song could go that way. But there's also a time where like you don't want to step on any toes either, because like for me, I'm like, oh, I could take this like a crazy direction right now. There have been times where like I've had artists tell me they want to scrap a song, and I'm like, just give me one chance, and I will mix it to the point where you're gonna like love the song. And then I've done it before.
And they love it. And they
love it. Yeah. But that's just me like being an artist in that perspective, because I'll put like distortion and drown it in reverb, or put it underwater, or make it over there sound like it's coming from behind you, wrap around your head, do a backflip.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so I really just try to make art with people and kind of like let people you just tell me what you want. You just talk through me, work through me, and I will just do exactly like what your brain is hoping for.
Yeah.
That's really what I try my best at.
How do you like that the artists get all the attention? Do you like being on the back, in the background and nobody's really bugging you? And I don't know. How do you feel about that? Because obviously,
I do.
Of course, at the end of the day, the artists are gonna get. They are the artists. They are the one that are, they're in the forefront of the song.
For sure. I like being behind the scenes, but I definitely wouldn't mind having a bigger platform to be able to put out positive content for people to really help people move on and enjoy a better life. But yeah, I mean, the artist, there's a lot that goes into being an artist, and respect to all the artists out there. Like, you're really putting yourself out there for people. And that's one thing where, like, I kind of already do that through, like, my Instagram stories, and, like, I joke a lot, and I try to make mixing fun. Like, I try to make mixing something that is, like, cool, because it's so not cool right now. I don't know why, but it's the coolest thing in the world, and you have to try it. So I'm always just like joking around, like, another day and another parallel compressed vocal,
like low key.
Yeah,
the day in the life.
Can't wait to. I think one of my tweets was like, I can't wait to mix some harmonies, and mix some harmonies to be smooth with the lead vocal. Frequency phasing is getting punched in the nuts. Like, people have no idea, but they just think it's funny, and it is funny because it's just like.
Nobody's talking about that.
Nobody's talking about it. Be different.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's about.
You're just embracing who you are.
I'm just totally embracing it.
You're loving every moment of it.
And it's so funny because, like, I'll even, like, even when I go work with, like, more, like, legitimate people, I'll just joke about mixing with them and how freaking sweet it is. And they just buy right into it. They love it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep doing it.
They love the energy, too.
Yeah, of course. Like, anybody who clowns himself, like, you have to... I'm not saying I'll clown myself because I talk about engineering, but you know what I mean? Like... I just understand that that what I do is not like a praised thing, and I don't want it to be praised. Like, I just want it to be appreciated and understood, and not be so foreign to people. I just want people to realize, like, the value that there is in audio engineering, and I really just try to do that by just letting people that know, like, see that I work all the time. Like, that's really important because it's not like. I just do this for fun. Like,
no,
this is
like
literally
how I make a living.
How I make a living, and I'm not the only one that does this kind of thing. But it's really cool. I find that a lot of artists enjoy, like, watching my stuff or talking to me about it just because, like, I'm a young audio engineer. Most audio engineers are older, nerdier dudes that just sit in studios and
they just do it all day long.
They are an employee of the studio. One time, this was really eye-opening to me, but I was in a bigger studio in a might have been like Burbank, but I was in the studio and I was sitting down with one of the engineers there, and he was just talking to me about what I do, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, and he said he just graduated from Full Sail University
down in Florida, I think. Right?
Yeah, there might be another one, but
expensive school.
Yeah, it is expensive. Really, I even thought about doing it, but I was like, nah,
I'm good. YouTube, hit me up.
Yeah. So. I was talking to him, and he was just saying, like, yeah, it's cool, but, like, he didn't really seem very excited about being an engineer. Like, it didn't really seem like he liked it that much. So once I started diving into it, I realized that he really was just an employee of a studio. He's like, I graduated from Full Sail. They hired me here. I get paid $15 an hour, and he just takes clients that come through the studio. He didn't have any of his own clients. Like, he worked there for a year. And he asked me how I get clients. And I was thinking, like, how do you even have a job if you don't have clients? My whole job and my whole beginnings was acquiring clients. Like, yo, I need to work with you, blah, 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 doing free stuff for everybody, working with this dude, making it sound better than the last dude. And, like, that was how I became to where I am today, just being able to live off this. And it was just, like, really, like, kind of, like, sad, but also reassuring for me to where, like, I'm happy I didn't take that route, that very common, safe route. Like, go to school for it, get a job, work,
doing it, and
make your way up. Yeah. Like, that's literally, it's not the corporate route, but it is the corporate route, like, at the same time.
It is.
And that's not what we're doing here in our young and risky 20s.
No, we're out here rolling dice. Baby.
Yeah, we're rolling dice. We're taking chances. So yeah.
What does your day-to-day look like then? Obviously, you're your own boss. You have clients that are hitting you up. Are you, do you get up and you work straight through for 10 hours, then, call it a day? Are you a morning guy? Are you a night guy? What's your schedule kind of look like?
Yeah. So, I mean, days, they alter. I've just been getting up a lot earlier recently, which has been awesome. So I pretty much get up like when the sun starts to come up. I might go to the gym, or I'll just get on my laptop and do some extracurricular. I literally watch like mixing videos for fun. Okay. So like there'll be times where I'll just wake up, I'll just watch like videos on mixing for like 2 hours, or just watch like interviews with artists.
That's fine. You gotta stay. I mean, you gotta stay in the realm of what's going on in the industry.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's completely all right.
I'm never out of the realm.
Yeah.
Like even when I'm at the gym, like I'm listening to like mixes and like criticizing my own mixes on my cheap Bluetooth headphones that I have.
You're like, why did I do this?
Yeah, I'm like, this just doesn't translate. The low end is being lost.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I'll do that, and then but recently I've been doing like some other things, which is great because I mean I got myself to a position where I am comfortable making a living off of this right now, and so I'm kind of at that point where it's like what I want to do now. So I've been like doing videos for people. I actually co-wrote my first song with an artist named John Wolf. Shout out to John.
Shout out John.
But song's called On the Way, and it's a dope track. John was great in it. And we sat in my studio. We spent like 2 days on this song, just like my first time in the writing process.
Wow.
Besides when
usually you're just sitting from the side.
Yeah.
You were like,
let's try
this, try that.
For sure. And it's definitely probably like his best song. Like, but all of his songs are good. Don't get me wrong. But like we really spend time on every single bar, and even the ad libs are like strategically placed. So the song's been going over incredibly well. Like everybody's using it in their videos and blah blah blah. I'm just getting tagged on random things for it. So that's a route that I'm really looking forward to taking, because that's me being creative again. And in mixing, you're limited when it comes to being creative. So I enjoy that a lot. I think I'm going to keep doing that. And then I've been doing videos with my friends. My friend Kevin, he has a YouTube channel, Kevin Lang, Dwarf Mamba, who's the man, it's my homie Evan. And just like being able to create funny content with them just to do it because I can. And along with that, like I can do the funny videos. I can go home and then just make some tracks for people. It's really cool because now I'm at the point where like I don't need to reach out to everybody to work. Like I don't need work. Like work just comes now because I've been doing it for so long. And like you said, a lot of people don't even know any engineers. I'm like one of the few engineers that has like a face on the internet.
Exactly.
So it's really easy for me to get new artists, and I feel like it's getting to the point where like every other day there's a song dropping of a mix that I did, which is incredible, and I'm totally just really grateful for it. But I don't know if mixing is going to be the only thing I do. I think like my day-to-day life is going to be mix one day, go assistant direct one day, write a song the next day. Like I really want to do a lot of things, but I definitely used mixing to get me to where I am today, and I'm going to keep using it because it's awesome and I love it, and I'm really, really good at it. So.
Who's to say you can't do all that? Who's to say you can't co-write a song, go shoot some videos, help co-direct something? There's nothing saying you can't do that.
The only person is yourself. Like that's the only person telling you can't do anything. Yeah. And that was something I even battled with, was especially coming out here. There's just so many talented people. Like you don't even realize. Like I just got thrown into rooms where I was like, I don't even know if I belong in here, but you just got to tell yourself.
What?
Yeah. Like you just got to tell yourself.
You got to play the part.
Yeah, just play the part and do it. And then you start to realize that even these like people that you don't think you deserve to be in the same room as, when you realize like they're just people as well, then it's just like, yo, calm down, bro. Like you can do anything really. Like this guy is just like this. And then like you meet people that you're like, damn, I feel like if you were more like this, you'd be a lot different, or like a lot, not going to say a lot better, but I feel like you would see more success if you just change your ways a little bit. Yeah. But that whole idea of like never want to meet your idols, like I can definitely see that, and especially in LA, just because like there's so many people that put out like great stuff, but they're not necessarily the people that you really want to be around.
Yeah. I saw somebody tweet earlier today, literally like probably an hour before you got here, and it was I forget who it was, but she said, I stopped listening to some of my favorite artists because I learned who they really were.
Great tweet. I think I did see. I think I saw that one.
I don't know who it was, but it's truthful. It's like the worst. You know, it's like somebody, like a typical guy saying, "Oh, wouldn't you like want to date her? She's beautiful." But it's like, all right, what's her personality?
Yeah,
because that's the instant. You know, at the end of the day, we just want to be surrounded by people that we vibe with, that we are having a good time with, and you know, even if you have this person has 10 million followers on their Instagram, or this person has the biggest song in the world, if they're not good people, what's the point? Like, why are you gonna want to be in the same room as them? You know?
Yeah, 100%, and I think that plays a huge role in how I got to where I am as well. Just because, like, I'm not saying that I'm the best audio engineer in LA. Like, I'm well aware there are probably people that have been doing it longer than I have and can really have more gear and are just more qualified to do certain records. But I understand the idea that people just want to be in a room, in a creative space with the right people. That is more important than anything. Like, they don't care how good of an engineer you are, how good of this you are. Like they're either going to want to work with you for you, or they're just not going to work with you, and they're going to work with somebody else that they are really cool with and they like.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to be. It's just like that person. Like, yeah, you come in here, I can put on the business cap, I can put on the joking cap, all that kind of stuff, and we can really just get in a comfortable environment to make hits.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point, is just make like incredible music with these people and do whatever you can to like really try and bring everything that they have in their mind to life.
Yeah. Because that's what you're supposed to. You know what I mean? You want to help out in any way, I guess you can, but also making sure the client's happy and everyone around you is like, all right, we're all good, we're all happy with this.
There is an insane amount of like people skills required for these sessions, because like every session is different. There are some people that don't want your opinion, and you have to be able to read that right out the gate, like whether they seem open to an opinion or not, because like I said, it's one of their most personal, vulnerable places when they're in the studio with people, because they could be saying the most real shit ever, and it's like, damn, like, you know how many stories I've been told, how many like heartbreaks I've been told, how many like losing a brother, losing family, like all that stuff. Like, I have had people directly tell me it through a microphone. So like, they'll step out of the booth and I look at them like, yo, like, dap them up or like something, just because like they'll say some things where you're like, damn, that had to be tough.
Yeah.
And it's so original and so real that like, you know, they're not just BSing. Like, that's like real music. You know what I mean?
You're seeing them, you're seeing them record this. Me, I'm just hearing the music, and they talk about touchy subjects, and like, damn, this is a really heartful record.
For sure.
It's heartful, but imagine them actually recording that, of actually having to vocally sing and make that record what it was. I can't even imagine, and especially to be in a room with that.
Yeah. I mean, there were countless times where my first like session with somebody turned into like the most real moments just because of what they rapped about or what they were singing about. Because like, I would just talk, and we talked to them about it, and we would just talk, and next thing you know, like, they feel even more comfortable just like being open about it. They go and they lay another take. It's like 10 times better than the first one, and that's really important. It's really important just to be a person that people want to have around, and don't take up too much space, and don't ever let your ego get in the way of anything when it comes to, especially when it comes to being creative. There is no ego.
Yeah.
Like, there is no right and wrong in music. It's like a taste.
Yeah.
So like, it's all opinionated, and you cannot take anything personally. So that's why I really just try to keep that at the forefront, because even when I feel like something is wrong, I will never be like, wrong. I will say, like, I don't like that. Provide a solution to it. If they don't like it, we just go back and we move on, because I'm a service and I give you whatever you want.
Yeah. And that's why they keep coming back. I mean, when I was kind of getting ready for this interview, this podcast, I was looking at the artists that you worked with, and I didn't even want to just name drop them, because there's so many of them, and I don't want people to be like, well, why didn't he say this person or that person? But your list of artists is very wide range, and it's pretty like amazing, because a lot of these artists, I feel, are people that could be doing some really big things. And they're not saying they're not already doing big things, but they're like you. They have been at this journey for quite some time. And it's almost like you're rising with them. Maybe some artists you've been working with since day one. Maybe some artists are just newer. But some of the bigger names that on your list of resume, it's pretty amazing to see what these artists are actually doing and that you're a part of it. And that they're continually coming back to you. They're not getting bigger and then now knowing they can get this bigger engineer, they are continually coming back to you. And it says a lot about your craft. It says a lot about like you as a person. It says a lot about just your delivery of, this is how I operate my business. This is how I operate this service.
100%. There's a lot of things that go into that, and I'm huge on, getting a real relationship with the client. And I really try not to like hit them with some BS like fees or this and that. Like if there's something wrong, if it's a small fix, like I know how much time it takes me to do things. So if they ask for something that like, yo, can you just send that to me a little with the bass boosted a little bit? Like that will take me probably 7 minutes, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes to do that. I had to bounce it, export it, upload it.
I hate doing that.
Like I'm not gonna charge them like an extra for an extra $15 for a master.
Yeah.
When like I know like that is not gonna be a huge thing. But if they're like, yo, the vocals are too thin and the hook isn't working right now,
you gotta re-go
that's
back.
Gonna be a whole nother thing. So where I would have to charge. But like I think that's one thing that keeps them coming back because I don't do dumb shit like that. Like I don't like always get pressy about it. I give my opinion on something. There have been times where I've sent money back to people. I'm like, bro, this song could be a lot better. Like, don't even waste your time on it. And they're like, yeah, I feel you. I just wanted to get something out because I haven't dropped anything in a minute. I'm like, no,
don't do it.
Don't do this one. I'll
See,
send me
that
something
says a lot
else.
about you because the money's coming to you, so you're gonna get money for the service or not. But the genuineness of telling somebody straight up, I don't want your money because I don't think you actually want this record either.
Yeah,
that is like a long play of, wow, this guy actually like gives a shit.
Exactly, and it keeps my word. You never want to dilute your word with anything. So if like when I like say that kind of stuff, like I'm not the guy that's always like, this is good, this is good, this is good, or I'm not the guy like this is bad, this is bad. I give like an honest shot to everything. So like if I say something's bad, like you're most likely gonna actually like listen to why it's bad. And if I say something's good, then you're gonna move on and be cool with it. And that's just because I just try to be as genuine and honest with people without being disrespectful, because that's like the biggest thing about it. People can take it like really personally, but the people that I am honest with are people I've worked with and people that respect my opinion to the point where I can say these things. But if it's a new client, I'm not just going to be right out the gate like, this is bad, this is this, because like I got to get an idea what they're about. And it takes me time to really build a relationship to the point where like I can really have sit down talks with them and help them make great music.
Yeah,
really.
You're running the studio right now in your garage right here in Los Angeles. You gotta love it. You gotta start somewhere.
It's pretty crazy.
Is there a big plan or a big vision you have for the next 6 months, year, 5 years of what you want? I know you have all the creative things going on, and that's gonna be a whole separate entity. But as the audio engineer, is there something that you vision happening in the next 6 months, year, 5 years that is really jumping at you?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I was caught up on when I first came out here was like the idea that you need other people to do things, like, and you need other people's approval or anything like that. So I was thinking like, man, I need to work with this artist so I can do this. But like now I kind of switched my thinking to be like, I can make anything happen, and you kind of want people to want to work with you, and not trying to be like cocky or anything, but I'm just saying like in a couple years, like I want to be at a point where like I'm in a position to where I can really change other people's lives. Like I want to either have a studio that it runs full time where I'm in and out of, but I have other people running it. And that way I can bring artists to LA, have them in the studio, work with them, and try to make something special. And then like I would also like to have a sort of like content creation studio where people can come in and make just good content for the world. It's just like there's a lot of things, but the mixing and the music is always going to be a part of me. It's always going to be a part of my brand. So I think a big studio is going to be the first step. Yeah. And then from that big studio, keep running that, get artists in and out. And then from there, we'll move on into another branch. But this is LA. You never know what you're going to do. Yeah. I just shot my homie who makes YouTube videos, and we just did a music video. It's got 3 million views out of nowhere. It's probably one of my biggest things I've ever done.
How many years has it been out?
3 days. Yeah. And like low key, I'm going right back to just mixing and busting my butt, doing what I've been doing for the past 5 years, and like still will probably never see like success like that again. But it's totally cool.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
You're part of it. You're part of it. Though,
I'm part of it. Yeah.
And
it's just more things to do. I just want to do a million things in the world. I want to take over the world. So I'm gonna do whatever I can.
You want to take over the world.
Yeah.
So what's motivating you to get out of bed every morning?
I mean, back to the family. I mean, like my family is a huge motivation for me, just because like I respect and appreciate them so much. So like when I get out of bed in the morning and I think about my dad getting out of bed and like working in a pizzeria for 10, 20 years and then just working in a restaurant and just like going through that, like he's good now. Yeah. But like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, all right, Pop's is probably getting up and going to work in a restaurant for about 10 to 12 hours. And he's done that my entire life. Yeah. And I was just like, when I get up, like, you're going to work as well. And you're going to work really hard to make something that he never really got the opportunity to do. Because my dad was like an artist. He wanted to be a painter. He used to teach like art classes in school. But when the real world came, he decided to get a job and do his thing. He didn't really have a big support system. So like he sacrificed his own life, like in the sense of like pursuing a passion just so I could pursue a passion. Yeah. So I'm going to take those sacrifices. My mom did the same thing too. Like my mom worked her entire life as well. Both of them worked their entire life and made a life for me that was just very comfortable. There was really no fear waking up. I knew I had a roof over my head. There was going to be food at the house. Like I had clothes if I needed clothes. Like all that kind of stuff was taken care of. And so every day when I wake up, I think about just things like that and things about like all the hardship that they've gone through and how lucky I am to be able to wake up and to do whatever the hell I want. Yeah. Like that is something.
That's a blessing.
It's a blessing, bro. Yeah. Even like my brother is really successful in the business world in a bank, and he's 25, like just killing it right now, like making way more than any 25-year-old should at a bank. But he still doesn't really feel like fulfilled at the moment. So I even think about that when I wake up. I'm like, I don't realize how weird it is that like I literally just do whatever the hell I want every day. But low key, like I have to make it work. I have to make a living from it. But like that's not normal. And like outside people look at it and just think it's like crazy. But I think the values that like you need are instilled from the people that took these jobs and like our families who literally sacrificed their life to make a life for their kids. Like that's something like I'm always gonna be grateful for. It's always gonna keep me going. And definitely they're my biggest inspiration for sure.
Yeah. That's what drives me, man.
You know? Really?
Yeah. Like just, I don't know. I think it'd be so dope to buy my parents a house in Wells Beach, Maine, where they took us every year, or to
that'd be
able
the
to
best.
like fly them to fly my father to every Bruce Springsteen concert because he's a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. Like, it's just things like that. You know, I grew up in the same environment. House over my head, food always on the table. It was me and my younger sister. She was 2 years younger than us. We grew up at the end of the street, nice little house.
Yeah.
Like everything that I could ever ask for. Like the perfect life. Like there was never a struggle for money. The bills were always being paid at least, you know. The parents never fronted about things like that. And that's the same motivating for me. It's just I want to be able to like somehow pay it back to them. And you know, I try to enjoy the journey because I don't know if there was like a post about Cristiano Ronaldo and he like had this thing. I could be so wrong, so I apologize if I'm completely wrong. Maybe it was just a bullshit thing shared on Facebook, but like they had quoted him about, you know, he said something about he wanted to give his father everything that he could ever ask for, and he was so set on making that happen that he didn't enjoy like that whole process. So by the time it kind of happened, his father passed. So it was like his father was able to get everything he ever wanted, but he was so caught up in just work. And I do it all the time. I just want to work. And I find myself like asking myself, like, am I working too much? Not working too much, but am I not showing the love? And I'll send a text to my mom and just say, hey, like just thinking of you and dad, or something that's so small, but it actually shows that little effort that I know, like they know, you know? 100%. So it's like just trying to, I don't know, just like wanting to like give back to them. How do you personally measure success for yourself? Because it's not the money. Clearly not, obviously. What's like the indicator of like we're making progress or?
For me, it's really just more.
Is it like the artists that you're working with, like certain doors that open, and you're like, oh wow, now I'm working with this person?
Yeah. For sure. That's definitely a big personal success thing. But it's my biggest, like, just getting approvals from people within the industry.
Yeah.
Because, like, I always have this just weird insecurity of, like, is this as good as I think it is?
Yeah.
Because I didn't grow up doing it really. Like, I mean, I've done it for the past, like, 5 or 6 years now, but no one really around knows anything about it. And so whenever I get in a room with people that do know something about it and they tell me it sounds good, that's when it's like, all right,
they
know what's
going on.
Yeah, they know what's going on, and like it makes me feel really good. But yeah, working with more people is definitely a measure for me, and just like a positive impact on others. Like, does it really? That's why I like making these content with people and making people laugh and do whatever I can. Because it's just like, that is real success to me. When you can change a ton of lives for the better, then you're like successful.
Even if it's for just 30 seconds, a minute. Because that'll change somebody's day around, dude, so quick.
For sure. So definitely, I just want to change as many lives as possible. And then I can move on.
Yeah. So. That's like the dope way to like go about it. Do you think it's important for people to have a vision for what they want?
Yeah, I do. I mean, like my vision is very more like I said, changing life for the better and doing stuff like that. You have to have a vision that isn't based around your ego, and you can't have a vision like, I want to be famous, or you can't have a vision like, I want to have a sick car. Like, that's not like the real vision. It's like, what do you really want to do? And it's like, then you have to find like that core value of the vision and make that happen before anything. Because it's like, say you're a photographer, like you can have the vision of like, I want to live in a ballin' house being a photographer, or it's like, I want to take the best picture ever taken. And like, when you have that vision and you have that goal set, you'll end up having a really nice house. All that stuff comes with it. But like, just keep your eyes on the real prize, which is like the value that you bring to the world. Mm-hmm. And so when you have a vision, just make sure that the vision has true value, not ego value, not this artificial value that you just want to be popping. Like, you need to make sure, if you're an artist and you make music, make sure that your music is meaningful. Make sure that your songwriting is legit. Just ignore all these like trendy, I call it like disposable rap music. Like, it comes and goes. That stuff's going to happen. People are going to blow up. People are going to pop off. All that stuff's going to happen. Just ignore it. Write great songs for people. It will eventually come to life. It will. You'll eventually find a hit,
people that are doing this, like, that type of disposable shit, it's gone in 5 years. It's gone in less than 5 years.
Exactly.
Let them pop and do that. Looks like they're flexing. Anybody that I see out there that is posting content that I know is not true to themselves.
Yep.
Who are you trying to fool? Because you're not fooling me.
Especially nowadays.
What are you doing? Tell your truth. Like, tell your journey of how you're getting to where you are today, and don't try to be somebody you're not. If you own a Lambo, cool.
Yeah.
You want to flash it? Dope. But don't be that guy that takes a picture in front of the Lambo
and rents a Lambo.
Because you rented it for the day, and just cop the new Lambo. And
yeah, that's but that's a secret right there. Like, even the Lil Pump stuff that goes on, and like, I actually like enjoy some of the music, but he's rapping. A lot of people don't approve about what he's rapping, and I'm not gonna say anything really about it, but it's still true to him. No matter what it is, like, he really does do a lot of Xans. So like, he raps about that, and like, people just like it because he's being so honest and upfront. And it's just like, anybody who does that in their own way while being different, it's gonna hit with somebody. Yeah. So yeah, being true, that really is a huge aspect to making music, and to really making a life off of music, is to really make music that changes somebody else's life.
Yeah. And I think you can hear that too in the actual, when you're recording the music,
for sure.
Because it's not,
the
it's
performance
genuine.
is everything.
Yeah. You can much tell from that. This is when I reverse the role. I allow my guests to ask me any one question, Could be about something you've always wanted to know or something you want to talk about. Any one question, fire away.
All right. So I actually have a lot of friends and family that like came to me about a podcast because they think like, Neek, he's an audio engineer. He knows everything about podcast and if I want to start a podcast, but I really don't know anything about podcast. And like, even when it comes to microphones or a budget, I don't really know how to direct them. So if you could do that for me right now, and anybody who's interested in starting a podcast, what are some of the first steps they need to take in order to make that happen?
So beautifully, I ended up writing a blog on this. So if anybody wants to follow up with what I'm about to say and actually see it written out, because I have it in steps, www.purposeintheyouth.com blog section, and there's I think 5 blogs up, so it's pretty easy to find. It's the how to start a podcast blog. Who would have thought, right?
Wow.
Who would have thought? So I don't remember the way the steps go, but kind of going right to what we were just saying. Like, you need to be, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, great. That's already the first step. What is your podcast going to be about? Like, what do you want? You have to be willing to talk about this subject a lot.
Yeah.
And it needs to be very precise on what's the vision? What's the end goal? I'm going to relate it. I knew that I wanted to start a podcast that was focused on passionate people, and I wanted all different types of people. Before I even recorded my first episode, I literally dreamed of having a fashion designer, of having a BMX rider, of having a graphic designer. I knew I wanted all these different types of people, and that having that vision, that end goal line, I knew it would be easy to then make the moves and figure out this person fits, because I knew what I wanted. So figure out what it is that you are willing to talk about, and be willing to talk about it a lot. And it's got to be something you're going to really soak in, because you need to literally invest all your time into this. So once you have like that idea of what it's going to be about, brand it. Figure out how are you going to package this product.
Yeah.
The logo, the name, the slogan, the vision. You want it to be appealing. Fortunately, I had my homie help me design and come up with the name of it. So credit to Dylan Reese. Shout out to my homie. Check him out on Spotify.
Let me say one thing. Podcast branding is a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there is a special uniqueness to a podcast brand. Like, you can tell that this is a podcast logo just by looking at it.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, what I learned, this isn't the original. I mean, these are, the original has always been the circle, but my original, which is also on the blog post, my original album cover was just this circle in the middle.
Yeah.
But what I ended up doing at the 6 months anniversary, which I recommend, is adding a face to the actual cover. Because people, even if you are somebody that brings on guests like me, people are going to get to know the host. And that's why I came up and I had this. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it right here on our these coasters.
But I need one of these for me.
So that when even though this is a illustration of me,
Bobbbaaaay,
like this is the person behind the mic
for sure.
So create something cool, something that you like, and then do the research. Figure out how to get a podcast uploaded. It's very simple. I laid it out in the description. You host it on SoundCloud, and then you can like RSS feed it to all the platforms. And then the number one thing to winning with podcasting, and it's like anything else in this world. So if you want the biggest gem bomb, here it is: consistency. If you say you're gonna do it and deliver. Because I've always treated this as if I already had 10 million subscribers and 10 million listeners every week. Every Wednesday, the first thing I do when I wake up every morning, I roll out of bed, I come to this laptop, and I upload an episode. And there's no excuse of didn't have an episode this week, sorry guys. No, like that is not a thing. Like, you have to be consistent. I've put out 50, this past week was 56. It's all it is. Consistent content, consistent going to the gym to get better results, consistent working on the audio and mixing songs, consistent riding a bike because you want to become a professional BMX rider. It's consistency. And that's the only way you'll get there. And if podcasting is what you want to do, you like to talk, you like meeting people, you want to sit down and have conversations, this is the best platform in the world. I literally could not imagine what else I would be doing, because I get to kick it, meet great people like yourself, open up the door to building relationships, and I could never ask for anything better. And if you have a vision for a podcast, I suggest doing it, because this is the time to get into it. Once again, Purpose in the Youth, blog post, how to start a podcast. I got it all laid out for you guys. And hit me up in my DMs or emails. Like, I'm always trying to give people value back. And when I don't get people hitting me up, I'm like, are people either nervous or do they don't have questions for me? But
that's so
like,
funny.
I want to answer. Just hit me up. You know what I mean?
Bro, I get so excited when people ask me like a question about mixing because very rarely does it happen. And when it does, it's been picking up a lot.
Do you want to get on a phone call? I'll give you the whole spiel right now.
I gave him I do Skype, FaceTime, whatever. If you're semi-interested in mixing, I'll talk.
Yeah, and that's
I'm not even I even will tell people exactly what I do.
Yeah,
and because I know it's mixing, and like what I do for that one song is not going to work for any other song besides that one. Like it could kind of work, but like it's never going to sound as good as it did for that song.
Tell people, you know why? Because you are who you are. Nobody's gonna. I'm not afraid to tell you exactly how I do my. I'll tell you how I outline my podcast. I'll tell you how I set up the questions. Nobody's going to beat me.
You're not Bobbbaaaay.
Yeah, they're not Bobbbaaaay. So I'll tell you the keys of how I make this podcast run, but I'm not afraid. I'll give you all that information. I'll give you all the value. I don't want anything in return, but you take it and run with it. So same thing. You could tell these people, but it's going to take them a very long time to get that type of credibility if they're just starting off. So it's like, why not? Why not just tell them the secrets?
For sure. And there's just a lot of other things to be successful and to make a life out of it. You have to be a lot more than good at engineering. You have to be able to manage your time. You have to be able to keep up with your phone, reach out to people, take opportunities as they come, do work for free. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah. But like anything you're doing, if you're pursuing something on your own, you got to do it for free just to get practice and to build a clientele. That's even to this day, I still do that. If there's an artist that I feel is like pretty worth my time, I'm not going to be like, yo, pay me $50 an hour for a mix. I'm gonna do it.
You want to open that relationship,
and if I'm genuinely into the music and I like what they're doing, I like where their head's at. Like I just want to be a part of it most of the time. Yeah. So like, there's countless artists. I mean, I reach out to artists all the time, just trying to work with them because I like their music. Yeah. Like, and I tell them that straight up. Like I wouldn't be hitting you up if I didn't think I could add value. Yeah. So that's really anybody doing anything. I don't think that you deserve to be paid for it when there's people that have been doing it for years ahead of you. It's like, do it for cheap, undercut everybody. That's how I started as well, was just charging dirt cheap for mixes. And then compared to like the quality and price, like it's still dirt cheap for me. Like, 'cause I know good mixes and I know how much people are paying for mixes, and I'm hearing those mixes and I'm just like.
And you're opening the door.
Yeah.
You're opening the door to these conversations.
For sure.
Closing questions.
Cool.
First. Picture frame on the wall. I want you to imagine. There's one right here. Inside it is you 10 years from now. What and who else do we see in that picture frame with you?
I would like to say probably my brother's going to be in there.
Okay.
My brother plays a huge role in where I am today, and he's just kind of like really brains.
What's the age difference?
He's 25.
Okay, so
about to turn 26 in like 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. I could really see a lot of people in that picture. Hopefully, I have like an adorable dog in that picture. I need a dog ASAP.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
And I could also see like my homie John Wolf being in there, because he and we really hit it off, and he is super open with collaboration. And I could see he and I doing some like pretty crazy stuff in the future. Like, it doesn't even have to be music. It could be, I could just see us like doing some really
crazy
cool things.
Shit.
So shout out to my man John. But hopefully my family's in that picture. Like I don't know. I really don't think. I think everything's in kind of my hand right now, and I like it that way. I don't really depend on other people for anything. So I mean, most of that picture is probably gonna be me. But
that's fine.
But like, the people that I'm gonna want in that picture are gonna be my family and just really close friends that they might not even think that they're doing anything to help me, but like it's that like everyday mental help. Just like having friends from like my friends from college just like think it's cool that I did what I did, and we're like pumped about it, and would always kind of remind me that like, dude, it's so cool that you're doing that. Like, even if they didn't know what it was, like, those people keep me going every day. Like, I want to prove them right. Yeah. Because, like, all this, like, dude, you're going to kill it out there. You're going to kill it in LA. Like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Like I really like that feels good, and just like having that confidence from like people, it's awesome. So I mean, it might maybe that picture will just be like me and just like a ton of people that have brought like light to my life. Because there's just all those people are to credit for me sitting here right now. Yeah. So
that's super dope. You got to believe in yourself, but it also helps to have people around you that are pushing you.
Definitely.
Where can people find you on social media?
Everything is just at NeekAttack.
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 How do you spell it?
NEEK Attack. ATTACK.
And then website?
NeekAttack.com.
Wow, that's beautiful. You know, that's branding 101, ladies and
gentlemen.
Branding
and the pink. You'll see the pink everywhere. You know, I love that soft pink.
Love it.
Baby girl pink.
Last question for you. Somebody that's listening in doesn't know what their passion is, doesn't know what their purpose is. What 2 to 3 pieces of advice would you give them to trying to find that thing?
It's really hard. It's not really hard, but if anything, just like we said, try a lot of things. Like anything that might spark an interest to you. Like if you enjoy taking pictures, or like even just on an iPhone, you just like taking pictures on your iPhone. Like go out, take some real pictures with an iPhone, learn about editing, learn about this, come up with a unique way to maybe take pictures for a business and offer to take pictures of their menu, but do it in a cool way where you have like a color background for every item of the menu. So if it's like a burger, you'll have a nice like tan background, something to make value for what you do. And you just got to get good at something and then find a way to make it valuable to other people. And the best way to do that is to really try to find a way that's different than everybody else. Anybody can do this, anybody can do that. It's like, how do you go about it? So if find something like that, don't really expect a passion or anything to just fall on your lap out of the sky. It takes a lot of time, but just keep an open mind to life and to everything that the universe has to offer you and everything it's going to put into your vicinity. If you change your thinking, change how you think about life, and really tell yourself that you deserve to be given everything in the world, like the world will give it to you. And you just have to have an open mind to accept it and to appreciate it and to use it in the right way. So like I said, my mixing, I still like, I don't know if it is a passion. I really do love it, but it's like, it's not something that I went and suck at. Like I didn't seek out mixing and like, I'm going to do this forever. Like it just really kind of happened and evolved. And I kind of took what was given to me and the right things. I was getting opportunities, and next thing you know, like I happen to be the only studio in Morgantown. So then I'm mixing for all these artists. Then I get to go here and do this and blah, blah, blah. So even if it doesn't seem very appealing at first, you might just have to dig a little deeper to find that it's actually a passion.
Yeah. Just keep running with it.
Keep running with it.
My man, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Hey, thank you, my man. I appreciate it. This was a blast. This was awesome.
Awesome.
Shout out to Purpose and Youth.
Let's get
Great
it.
podcast.
Yep.
Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I really do appreciate it. If you could leave a 1-sentence review in the comment section below about what you'd like to see in the future, that would be awesome. And if you really want to make me happy, please subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date when Bobbbaaaay drops a new video. We'll catch you guys next time.